involvement in decision-making is a process that requires extensive information processing and a high degree of consumer involvement with the product. In order to understand decision-making, let's first consider the nature of consumer involvement and then describe the nature of decision-making. There are 5 stages of consumer behavior: problem recognition, information search, alternative evaluation, purchase decision, and post-purchase behavior. Some companies seek to short-circuit the consumer decision-making process by offering consumers a free gift as an additional incentive with their purchase. However, these gifts increase the cost of the product or service and therefore mislead consumers about the real cost. An example would be, according to the American Bankers Association, 25% of all student credit cards are received as part of an on-campus promotion, and there is a growing tendency towards signing up for credit cards on impulse. Students represent potential lifetime customers who can develop brand loyalty and eventually use other financial products such as mutual funds, and secondly, credit card companies know that parents frequently help their children pay their debts, even if the parents are under no obligation to assist their children. So does a free gift deceive a consumer, or is it simply a way to make an offer more attractive? All the factors that affect the consumer decision process, like the marketing mix, psychological factors, social factors, and situational factors, are further impacted by the level of consumer involvement. Consumer behaviors are the actions a person takes in purchasing and using products and services, including the mental and social processes that proceed to follow, conditions for involvement, importance of the product. The consumer self-image is tied with the product. It has symbolic relation with consumer values. It can be expensive. It has some important roles in life. Or on the other hand, the emotional appeal, which shows that the product must have some emotional value. Emotional attachment to byproducts by the consumer is continuously of interest to the consumer, and it entails significant risks or is identified with norms of the group. Consumers engage in types of buying processes or decisions, depending on their level of involvement. Extended problem solving for high-priced or risky goods, and limited problem solving, which includes impulse buying and habitual decision-making. Involvement is the consumer's degree of interest in or concern about the product or service. Consumers may have different levels of involvement for the same type of product. A high-involvement consumer will scrutinize all the information provided, such as price, fabric quality, construction, etc., and process the key elements of the message more deeply. On the other hand, a low-involvement consumer will likely process the same advertisement in a less thorough manner. Such a consumer might pay less attention to the key elements of the message and focus on experimental elements, such as brand name and the presence of a celebrity endorser. The impressions of the low-involvement consumer are likely to be more superficial. Now let's say we are out shopping for a car, as it is an expensive product, so consumers will get highly involved. But on the other hand, a student preparing for an exam needs to purchase a book to study, and although it is not as expensive as a car, the student will get highly involved because it is an important product in order to pass the exam. When a consumer decides to buy a product based on the interest and importance of the product to them, this is defined as the involvement level. It measures how personally, socially, and economically involved the customer is with the product in order to buy it. The buying process begins when consumers recognize that they have an unsatisfied need. Limited problem solving occurs during a purchase decision that calls for, at most, a moderate amount of effort and time. Customers engage in this type of buying process when they have had some prior experience with the product or service and the perceived risk is moderate. Limited problem solving usually relies on past experience more than on external information. A common type of limited problem solving is called impulse buying, a buying decision made by customers on the spot when they see the merchandise. Habitual Habitual decision-making characterizes a purchase decision process in which consumers engage in little conscious effort. Thanks for listening to the involvement of consumer buying